I think it's interesting. You pointed out that what you're teaching us is 50 years old in terms of research, but has not been picked up by business.
Right.
And this idea of this kind of carrot and stick may work in a few places, but not in the 21st century. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, I mean, as you know, what I did is I went back and looked at about 50 years of research in behavioral science, psychologists, economists, and what it showed pretty clearly is that the kind of motivator, those carrot and stick motivators that we use, particularly what I call an if-then reward. If you do this, then you get that. They're really good for simple tasks, mechanical tasks, turning the same screw the same way on an assembly line. But they're just not very good for the kind of work that most people are doing today. So in a way, there's this kind of mismatch that these if-then rewards were great for 19th century work, not bad for some 20th century work, but are just the wrong ones for 21st century work.
And so what is right?
What works better is, and again, this is really important to underscore, is that it's not that rewards and money don't matter. They matter a lot. The key is pay people enough, pay people more than enough, treat people really well, and then offer a sense of autonomy, that is sovereignty over what they do, how they do it, when they do it, a sense of mastery, which is the opportunity to make progress, to get better at something that's significant, and then also purpose, that is give people a sense that help them understand how what they do each day contributes to a larger whole. And that doesn't mean, a lot of times when we say purpose, it doesn't mean, solving world hunger or anything like that, but it could mean that, because of your contribution, this product got on the shelf faster than it might have, or this package looks better than it might have without you being here.
And talk about pay again for a moment. I think you made the point that even if you pay a little bit more than market, the research is clear, that at least then it takes it off the table.
Right, that's exactly the key thing, which is that we tend to think that people perform better if we raise what psychology calls salience, raise the salience of money. If we get people thinking about money, focused on money, they're going to do better work. And the truth is that for creative work, people do better when they're focused on the work. And one way to help them focus on the work is so they're not thinking about the money.
Yes.
They're not thinking about, I'm not getting paid enough, or I have a chance to win huge bonuses, but they're focused on the work.
And then talk a little bit about this. I love this notion of commission and non-commission.
Oh, yeah.
That, to me, is the essence. And it doesn't have to be a lot, but
no.
Talk a little bit about what companies are doing there.
Oh, a lot of companies are doing that, and I think it's a big deal, as you know. The idea is that artists have commission work, that is, they have someone who says, I'll give you $1,000 for a painting, here's how I want you to do it. Or they'll say, artists will also do non-commission work, where they'll just spend some time in their studio doing whatever they want. And more we're seeing organizations bring in this notion of non-commission work through things like 10% time. Spend 10% of your time working on whatever you want. That's what Intuit does. Google is famous, 20% of your time working on whatever you want. But there's some other really interesting examples out there where companies are doing, say, a week, a hack week. Take a week, do whatever you want. One of my favorite examples is FedEx Days. One day, beginning on Thursday afternoon, all the way to Friday afternoon, work on something outside of your regular job, come up with an idea, present it to your colleagues. You got to deliver something overnight, FedEx Days, and those are proving very valuable. They're even small things. There's a really great example of a credit union in Washington State, where this young woman in charge of this customer service division of a credit union, 6 employees, answering phone calls from credit union members. And she said, I want to do something like this. And what she just came up with was the Genius Hour, where every employee gets an hour a week. Do whatever you want. Come up with an idea for making this place better. And what this woman does as a great leader is she covers the phones while her employees have their Genius Hour. So there's a lot of really cool stuff going on in this world of non-commissioned work.
Yeah, and I think what's neat about it is it's all creative work. What you're finding is that if you can give creative work with just some less boundaries.
Yeah.
And I think your point, I was worried in the audience, they're thinking, well, we just want to give people, all work with no boundaries. But you said, hey, the rules were clear. You can give a couple boundaries and then give them a little bit of time.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Small, and that's very clear in the research, is that, if people need, 1 or 2 small constraints, but that's it.
Yeah.
Once you get past that, it ends up debilitating them. But if it's totally open-ended, people can get lost. But if you say on a FedEx Day, come up with one idea for how to improve the marketing department.
Yeah, or get mobile, or let's get mobile.
Right. I mean, even those small barriers, or you see it in schools. Schools are doing this now. So they'll say, what's one way to improve this classroom? Boom. And that's all the constraint that people need, a little bit of focus. And then they end up coming up with ideas that seemed to have come out of nowhere, but people were harboring the whole time.
Well, Dan, I appreciate the book drive. I mean,
Thanks
you
a lot.
did take this research that kind of got locked away in other parts of the planet, and you made it accessible to us
Thanks
who
a lot.
want to run business.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
All right, thanks.
Bye.